Hello, fellow preppers. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It's, let's see, it's Tuesday, November the 24th. The year's 2020. I believe it's day 7 of the Oregon lockdown imposed by our governor, Kate Brown. There's an interesting article a friend of mine sent me. It says be ready. Yeah, you gotta be prepared, right? But wait, something's weird here. I don't know if you could see that in the lens or not. It says be ready. Inside the far-right American militia networks arming themselves for civil war as Joe Biden becomes president. And in fact, it's funny, this was just updated today, not too long ago. It says gun-toting militias are arming themselves across America as they fear a coming civil war as Joe Biden prepares to become president. Well, you know, when Joe Biden puts people on his cabinet or say he's going to put these people and they say they're going to come around and have a buyback for guns, and then anybody who doesn't sell their guns after that, is the buyback period's over, they're going to come confiscating. Well, you know what? You're just asking for a civil war. You know, once again, we're led to believe in certain constructs like rights. And one of the rights guaranteed by that piece of paper called the Constitution says that, you know, our right to bear arms shall not be infringed. It's been infringed for a long time. It's been infringed probably for over 100 years. When they outlawed, you know, citizens owning automatic weapons without a federal permit, that was an infringement. Because I don't think Washington, Jefferson, and the rest of them would have said, yeah, it's okay for the government to have automatic weapons, but the citizens, no. No, they'd be saying, it's okay for the citizens to have automatic weapons, and we'll think, maybe we'll think whether or not we want the government to have automatic weapons. They would have kept things on a much even keel, even playing field. But today it's so out of whack, out of balance. You know, the idea of putting a 25% tax on ammunition and having to fill out paperwork to get ammunition, it's just infringement after infringement. And sooner or later, they're just going to push it too far and things are going to explode, literally and figuratively. You know, they say there's 544 militias currently active in the U.S. And they said that many of the self-appointed militiamen are preparing to write out mass civil unrest, while others more dramatically predict an upcoming civil war. Well, you know, here where I live, you know, I don't really see an upcoming civil war like right here on this land. You know, maybe in town there might be, in a small town of, you know, a little over 3,000 people. I don't really think we're going to see much of any skirmishes. You know, I think our bigger problem is that, you know, this state has pretty much decriminalized drugs, and a lot of these people who use drugs might start flocking to the state, and then they're going to have to try and, you know, find a way to pay for their habit, which is usually by taking things that don't belong to them. So they might get met with some force. And it says some groups are braced for attacks by Antifa. Well, yeah, up in Portland, of course. Yeah, because I'm down here in southwestern Oregon, so I'm about 250 miles away from Portland. They say this country will never be the same. Be ready. I think that's probably a true statement. you know, based on empirical evidence, based on what's happening, based on what Biden's been talking about, you know, the America that I grew up in is long gone. There just might be some things happening that, you know, we really don't want to see happen, but there's not too much we can do about it when we elect these people. And as I mentioned before, I think in yesterday's video, I said I was going to talk about a few of the movies. I talked about 1984 yesterday. And you know, right now the Matrix, you know, the Matrix is all about control. That's what was in the movie. And as you can see, right now we have governors and mayors and other elected officials who are exercising their control. They're seeing what they can get away with, how far they can push the populace. You know, you can't have more than 2 families in your house or more than 6 people for Thanksgiving, or, you know, and then rat out your neighbor if you see these gatherings. You know, the whole divide over the wear a mask, don't wear a mask group. It's just control, control, control. And these elected officials telling you what you can and can't do, while they do what they want to do. The rules don't apply to them. They're only applying the rules to you. And they're using force, you know, the police force, to enforce it. You know, any law has to be enforced. It has to have some force behind it. Otherwise, it's got no teeth. And most people just don't seem to understand that. Oh, you're supposed to respect the law. Well, respect only goes so far. And where respect ends, that's where force begins. So if they enact laws that you don't agree with and you do unlawful acts, then they're going to enforce the laws by, you know, sending the people with guns after you. It's just that simple. And that's why they want to have bigger guns than you. You know, we can argue about that. But, you know, in the hands of responsible citizens, doesn't matter what the weapon is. They're responsible. They're not going to do anything they shouldn't be doing. But if you push, you know, good citizens too far, finally they're just going to have it up to here, and they're going to, we ain't taking it anymore. You know, and it happens all the time. You know, sooner or later, you know, the bullies run rampant, and then, you know, the new kid comes to town or something, or some kid finally stands up to them, and you got to fight. Because if you don't stand up to the bullies, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. And sometimes it just takes one person, sometimes it takes a group. But that's just, might be what it takes. You know, somebody said in the video, the reply was, you know, does it come down to bullets or the vaccine or something to that, you know? You know, if they're going to try and push a needle in my arm for the vaccine, it's going to be either they will have overpowered me and they're holding me down and I can't get up, but they're going to have a fight on their hands. It's just that simple. You know, I'm too old for this nonsense now. I'm just not going to take it. You know, they're going to have to come out here. They know where I'm at. I mean, you know, my name's on the deed, so it's not where they don't know where I'm at. So if they're going to want to come out here and send the vaccine squad, you know, well, we'll just have to see what happens. But it's all about control. I mean, it's funny. I posted a video that somebody else had sent me about the vaccine and how they use, in the AstraZeneca version, they were using materials from aborted fetuses. And, you know, if you read the label, you know, and then you start to see what this part means and what this part means, you know, that's basically what it said. But then, you know, here come the fact checkers, you know, it's like, oh, this video's partially false or something. But, you know, we go back to 1984. You know, if something says 2 + 2 = 4, you're going to believe it. And somebody tells you 2 plus 2 equals 5, you're going to know 2 plus 2 equals 4. No, we say 2 plus 2 equals 5. And they put a gun to your head. How much is 2 plus 2? Is it 4 or is it 5? You know, it's whatever they say it is because they got that gun to your head. But, you know, if it's a standoff, then it's 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you're not going to make me say it equals 5 or 3 or anything other than 4 because we got a little standoff here. And that's just the way things work, you know. I've done videos before talking about the force equation, something I came up with. You know, if my force is greater than your force, I impose my will upon you. If your force is greater than me, then you impose your will upon me. If our forces are relatively equal, we either leave each other alone or we have a fight. You know, it's that simple. And when you think about it, you know, we the people, we have the greater force. You know, and the thing is, it's not necessarily a numbers game because sometimes, you know, one well-trained person can, you know, fight off 5 or 10 or more. But then sometimes, you know, you just have to be lucky sometimes too. So, you know, the thing is, these militias, whether or not they exist, which we know some of them do, and whether or not there's a civil war, you know, that just remains to be seen. Time will tell. But the thing is, you have to be prepared for no matter what happens. Because if you fail to prepare, then you are preparing to fail.